And welcome to OFR Round 3. We are here in Monaco, here at the Marina Bay Circuit, with drivers already out on the track and about to complete their outlaps. Let's tune in with Nico, who will be the first to lead the pack as he heads into Saint-Devote. It is very key to get that turn right to have a good, if not perfect, Sector 1. You can see the Alpha Tauri following behind him, the McLaren driver with a 19.4 Sector 1. He's going to be trying very hard to prove himself this time in qualifying after a lackluster attempt last week at Belgium. He did quite a bit better at Brazil, scoring better as well. Heading through the tunnel section here, very iconic staple of the Monaco circuit as we head into the slow chicane here. But Nico navigating it like a professional. And into Sector 3, he heads with a 53.8. That's going to be the Sector 2 benchmark. As it stands, Nico navigating the second chicane into these last two turns. What will be the time to beat with almost everyone out on track right now? We will certainly see a lot of times coming in. Nico is going to cross the line with a 112.5, but Focus with a 111 flat absolutely blows that out of the water. So possibly just a warm-up lap for Nico as he heads out on another one. Meanwhile, a couple more cars crossing the line with the Haas of Say with an 11.9, as well as another McLaren about to cross line. That's going to be Show Prime. Nico's teammate, will he do better? He will not with a 13.7, but again, I presume that's probably just a warm-up lap. I mean, these tires can last quite a bit when you're on the shortest circuit by distance in the F1 calendar. Then you can put in a couple laps on the softs. Let's take a look at Dr. Robot. Dr. Robot in the Aston Martin, been performing not too shabby recently, but he touches the wall there and possibly wing damage, but still a 19.3 as he locks up into that hairpin corner. We're going to be seeing a lot of lockups. You saw the smoke there through that hairpin as he goes really wide through there, but it is a really, really difficult circuit to navigate. So I do not blame these drivers for making some slight mistakes, while Lillard can. First time we've seen him in the Ferrari with a 12.9, slots into P4. Vilcek is out on the mediums for whatever reason, probably to save a set of softs for the race, while a black Mercedes behind him has invalidated Scotty in the Alpine with an 18.8 Sector 1 and a 53.2 Sector 2. So this is a promising time. And look at how quickly he flies through that chicane. I think that's a lot of people's make it or break it corners. If you slam even 1 centimeter into the wall there, and look at how close these margins are in the Alpine. Will he take provisional pole? He won't, but it'll be enough for P3 right behind the Haas. And the very, very small margins of error here, if you tap the wall even just a bit, that could be the end of your lap, and you have to go in, get a new wing, get a new set of tires, refuel. That could possibly end your qualifying here. Meanwhile, Nico and Showcrime both improving a bit on their time. Showcrime was in the 13s earlier. Now he's made his way into the 12s. McLaren has had a fairly good season so far, and I believe they sit currently P2 or P3 in the Drivers' Championship. They are P3 behind Alfa Romeo, as McLaren pick up 28 points with Alfa Romeo picking up 31 after a win by Mega Player last week, who is nowhere to be seen this week. So technically, the defending race winner is Focus, who currently also sits on provisional pole by almost a full second. Black Mercedes about to complete a lap for the first time, though it's not going to be a very great one. It'll be in the 15s or 16s, and Black Mercedes with a 16.3. Meanwhile, Reshkon with a 19 flat, not a bad Sector 1. Tim Blaish in Sector 2, following behind another Red Bull. That's Germs, I believe. Tim Blaish is going to get a bit of a tow here, but he's very close, and he touches the Red Bull, and he touched him again. So will he go into the pits here, or what's going to happen? Tim Blaish continues, and he almost slams into the wall there. So Reshkon or Germs or whichever Red Bull it was just too slow for Tim Blaish, and he thought he could dive up the inside and take the position, while Tim Blaish was on a flying lap, but he doesn't seem to have sustained any damage, so he will stay out. Goblin, in the meanwhile, takes P10. Tim Blaish takes P12, obviously, with a lackluster lap after a collision at the penultimate turn, while Vilcek in P9 after putting on the softs, and Artur Kostrewa, I'm sorry, I probably butchered that, is in P5, while Monkey Man Matt and the AlphaTauri is in P4. So this could shape up to be a half decent qualifying, while Germs comes back out of the pits in the Red Bull. This is the first time we've seen, I believe, anyone other than Reshkon in the Red Bull this season. So we'll see, can he outperform his teammate, or will he continue the Red Bull woes as they sit last in the Constructors' Championship behind Scuderia Ferrari, both level on 0 points. In the meanwhile, I think we should take a bit of a quick gander at the standings, while Focus at Games tops the charts with 37 points after a win at Brazil and a P4 at Belgium. Tommy, with picking up a podium at Belgium, puts him into second place with 26, just ahead of Mega Player, who was unable to score at Brazil, but picked up the win at Belgium, putting him at 25 points. Nico with a P3 finish at Brazil, but unable to make it on the podium at Spa, puts him in at 23 points, while Monkey Man Matt picks up 22 across the two races. Artie with 17, Bukarda in 8th, Mirul in 7th, Goblin in 9th, and Artur in the Alfa Romeo in 10th. Alfa Romeo has had a great turnaround since the beginning of the season, and actually let's go on board with Mega Player, who's about to start his lap. Remember, Mega Player was complaining about the car at Brazil, unable to score points there. I believe he DNF'd, while Artur showing up at Belgium now and picking up 6 points for the team, which catapulted them all the way up into P2 in the standings. And Mega Player really 18.58. That is an incredible first sector. That's going to put him up at the likes of Focus Game, and he even had a bit of a mistake there. Had to correct a little bit of a spin on the exit of one of those turns, and Mega Player coming through the tunnel section here. This could be an incredible lap if he does not mess this up. Heading into the chicane portion of the track, a very hard corner again to get right, but Mega Player just does it, and this is a true test of his ability. Now, how will he compare with the top two, both of which are AlphaTauris and a 52.6, and again, maybe not as fast as he would have liked through that corner, but it should be fine. Mega Player brushing up against the wall. That was centimeters, millimeters away from a crash as he now heads down the main straight. Will it be provisional pole for Mega Player? It is by 0.2 of a second, a 10.8 for the Alfa Romeo, and now he can truly show his speed, and Focus and Monkey Man Matt have a rival for this week. But as I say that, Focus Game takes it back with a 10.6, and we'll see how tire degradation and tire evolution comes into play here. Again, as we mentioned, the shortest circuit on the F1 calendar by distance and one of the shortest by time. So tire degradation isn't that much of a worry. You can put in 2 or 3 laps, but Focus electing to go for a cooldown / in lap, while Mega Player may be pushing to regain that pole position. We saw last night as well in real life, at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. I mean, some of those guys were out like 8-9 laps without boxing because the tires were just not warming up, and they really got better as time went on instead of worse, while the Haas of Seye, I'm going to call him Seye. I think that's a good name, Seye. Moves his way up into P4 with an 11.4, moving this qualifying session closer together, while Liller moves his way up to an 11.9 as there's a lockup from an Aston Martin ahead of him, possibly that could be impeding if Liller says he was on a fast lap. That's going to be Tim Blaish, not Dr. Robot, who's currently in the pits, while the two Red Bulls are dead last, while Reshkon could possibly be on another push lap as we head through this section of the track here. But that means that everyone has so far set a time, but Showcrime is out of the session. And let's take a look at this if we can catch a glimpse of it. Mercedes is about to pass by, and look at that, just in the middle of the track, and his front wheel just detached from the car. I'm not sure what happened there, but that looked like it was a mighty crash. And Goblin has also been DNF'd, retired, not sure exactly what happened there, but that's 2 out of the qualifying session already with 6 minutes remaining. And Mercedes currently 15th as Reshkode improves to 13th. This is his 4th lap on this set of softs, and it will not be any better for him in Sector 1, I believe. This is going to be an in-lap, and Germs with a rather lackluster lap as well. He's going to come out right behind Nico. Nico currently sits P9, but he's going to look to improve as he wants to make up a few positions. He did well at Brazil, not so great at Belgium, but currently he is P4 in the standings, so another mid-table performance in qualifying by him certainly won't help his title chances. He's going to need to be starting higher up on the grid if he wants to challenge for the World Drivers' Championship, which is currently being dominated by Focus. But we've seen Mega Player with glimpses of greatness as well as Monkey Man Matt. We're going to definitely see those three fighting it out, battling it out for the championship with consistent attendance and race performance. It's really going to be an interesting fight. And Nico about to start his lap here. Not much going on in the front. Top 3 all in the pits. While I believe Seye has gone a bit closer to the top 4 with an 11.2, while Monkey Man Matt drops down to P5 with an 11.3, and Tim Blaish with an 11.4. But I do believe that was on more used tires as he's out of the pits now after he got blocked, or well, I don't even know what to call that. His incident with the Red Bull, and Nico struggling to keep it nice and neat there, but he's up 3/10, and with a 19.1, it looks like most of his time is going to be gained in that sector and drifting it around this hairpin turn here. Very difficult one as well. The Grand Hotel hairpin, definitely one of the more famous on this F1 calendar as Monkey Man Matt. As I said, he was in P5. Now he's in P2. And it's once again an Alpha Tauri 1-2 as he beats out Mega Player by 0.02 of a second. Very, very slim margins all afternoon here. And Nico, will he continue a fast pace on his lap with a 53.4? He does. He's up 0.4. That would put him up into P8 just ahead of his teammate. But how could he fare in this Sector 3? He's got Tim Blaish ahead of him. And maybe a little bit of toe down the main straight there, losing the rear wing. Nico will cross the line, and it'll be enough for P8, as I predicted, improving 0.5 to a 12 flat and close to the time of the Ferrari ahead of him. And Tim Blaish, let's see if he's on another push lap on these older tires, and it certainly looks that way. Tim Blaish is going to cross over into Sector 2, but he's down 0.5 of a second, so I can't imagine this is an in-lap. With 3 minutes remaining, he'll take 11.431 as his best time of the day. Let's see who else is out on track. Focus at Game is out on track. I'm not sure if he's going for an in-lap or another push lap. He's down 0.07 of a second through Sector 1 either way. And a huge lockup there into the Mirabeau Hut Turn 5 as he heads into Portier and the tunnel section. We'll see if he can increase his advantage over the rest of the field. Another lockup by the Red Bull ahead of him. It's been very common, and will he be impeded by a Red Bull like Tim Blaish was? He's going to cross over into Sector 3, and he's only down 0.005. He's getting a nice little toe from the Red Bull, but the Red Bull looks like he's just too close ahead of him, and he touches the wall, and I think Focus is going to have to abandon. Yeah, he does, as he head through Rascasse, but he's going to stay out for another lap. So he's going to abandon that one and go for another push lap. I mean, there's not much time to box, and he's going to be definitely not too pleased about Germs there, who looks like he's backed out of the pits. I thought he was staying out, but looks like he's going to go in, and it's going to be a bad qualifying session, not one to remember for his debut in OFR. Germs looks like he's going to be starting from the back of the grid along with Black Mercedes, as Dr. Robot heading through the chicane here sits P14, so long way away from his teammate Tim Bleish, who's been dominating Aston Martin so far all season. Robot improving by 1/10, but that would only put him up nowhere. He wouldn't move up a position. That would just improve his time on the board. Maybe he had an issue here in Sector 3, but doesn't look like it. It's going to be another in the 13th lap for the Aston Martin. He's going to cross the line, and it'll be an 11.39, exactly, improving 99 thousandths of a second, and that won't, suffice to say, that won't move him up any further, while Vilcek, who we've seen again glimpses of speed as he heads through the tunnel here, will he be able to improve? He's currently P11 behind Arter in the Alfa Romeo, and he heads through the section there and almost DNFs himself as he really just grazes that wall there with his tire, and it's safe to say that he touched it, and he's going to have to abandon this lap, but he's got time to put in another. Well, Nico's out on track as well right now, but he's down about 2/10 into Sector 1, while Seye up 3/10 through Sector 2, drifting it through Raskas there as he heads onto the main straight. And actually, no, Vilcek won't have time for another lap, but Seye will take provisional pole with a 10.5. That's a blistering lap, and Focus at Game will have to respond. Actually, I'm not sure if he can. His teammate in front of him is going to let him by. I thought they were possibly looking to orchestrate a tow, but I don't think Focus on Game is on a push lap. No, he isn't. Mega Player is the only one left in contention at the moment for provisional pole as Tim Bleish goes into pits. I don't think any of them can improve that much, and he's up 4/10. That will be enough if he just keeps this, but he touches the wall there. He gets mighty close again, really testing the track limits here. Mega Player, if he just keeps this, it'll be enough, but sliding all around, touches the wall again. He heads onto the main straight. Will the Alfa Romeo take pole, or has he binned it? Mega Player by 0.08 of a second, a 10.516, and it will put the Alfa Romeo on pole for Monaco, unless Nico has anything to say about it, but it doesn't look like it, and that's everyone in this qualifying session. And what a dramatic end. Focus might have thought he had it in the bag. He's going to rue, definitely, when he was blocked by Germs through Sector 3. That could have been the decider, but Seye, who thought he took it, stripped it from Focus at Game, had it stripped away from him too by Mega Player, who takes his first pole this season. And can he convert it into his second win of the season? That question is going to be answered in a few minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are your results. And Alfa Romeo on the front grid position as Mega Player takes P1. Seye in the Haas will round out the front row. Focus and Monkey Man Matt Alpha Tower lock out of the second row, while Scotty in P5, Tim Bleish, Lillercon, Nico, Showcrime, Arter, Reshkone, Vilcek, Goblin, Dr. Robot, and Black Mercedes and Germs in the Red Bull will round out your grid. Very spread out near the back, but at the front, definitely a very close session, as you've seen a lot of the top drivers show their true skill and ability here today. So I think now the question is, what will these conditions be like? So qualifying was dry, no rain in sight, and that's preferable for Monaco, as there have been issues with the rain in the past, along with delays and almost even cancellations of the Grand Prix, but definitely a huge staple of the Formula One calendar, with many many iconic corners such as Santabat, the Grand Hotel Hairpin, of course, the tunnel section turn 8 and 9. Raskas, also a very, very famous corner and is a staple of F1 history, but has come under attack recently for its lack of good racing as well as safety, with a lot of sketchy conditions in the last couple races. I actually made a video about if the Monaco circuit should stay on the calendar, while the 3.3-kilometer circuit, um, also known as the Circuit of Monte Carlo, has been in Formula One for 94 years. Well, since Formula One was called Formula One in 1950, it debuted in that year, was not apparent on the calendar until 1955 again, and then made its way onto the calendar all the way until 2019 when it was taken off for 2020 for COVID reasons as we head underway for a formation lap, and it was back in 2021 and it has been on the calendar ever since. Also hosting other races such as Formula E and the historic Grand Prix of Monaco. Very, very iconic circuit to say the least, and it is part of the trifecta with, I believe, Le Mans, Monaco, and the Indy 500, with only few drivers ever to do that trifecta in racing. Definitely a win here is could be held to sentimental value. And the track, I think that Vegas was trying to be like in regards to its prominence amongst cities in the world and the abundance of casinos and all that. But I just don't think Vegas lived up to the hype that much. I mean, it's a very beautiful circuit, but what they're doing with the city is just absolutely intolerable. Covering everything you can only watch if you have tickets and all that good stuff. But 16 drivers for today's race. That means 16 in contention for the win. But it's going to be up to one of those in the top 4, unless someone lower than that can give out a shock win, while Tim Blaish and Liller Khan touch each other, not in a naughty way, but they're going to reset. I think that's the first time we've actually seen that happen like midway through the lap. It only usually happened at the park-in. As Mega Player takes his position on the front step of the grid, Seye right next to them, and Mega Player is going to have that inside line. That inside line really, really incredibly good into Sendabot here, and it looks like everyone, just about everyone, has parked their cars in, only a few to do so. And let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it is lights out, and away we go here. Mega Player with a half-decent start, while Seye cannot get beside him, but focus that game. Sends one up the inside of Santabot. No heroics into Santabot here, but possibly he could end up ahead of the Haas, but he doesn't, and not much has changed. But Nico up to P6, though. That's up 2 positions, but he crashes into the wall there, and Tim Blaish takes him out, and that's a huge pile-up, and that should probably be a red flag. That's going to be an almost 10-car pileup near the end there. Both McLarens involved, both Astons involved, and the Red Bulls move up to P8 and P9. We'll see if a restart is imminent here, but I would definitely vouch for it as this full safety car. Sorry, no, only virtual safety car comes out, but this should be a full safety car condition at the very least. In the meanwhile, the top 5 has not changed, but Arthur up to P6, him and Vilcek benefiting the most from this, while Mercedes, unfortunately involved in the crash, stays down in P15. So we're going to be seeing a lot of people pitting early on here. As let's take a look. Most started on the mediums, Vilcek on the softs, and 5 drivers on the hards, still under virtual safety car conditions. So it's going to be interesting. We're definitely going to see a couple file into pits for wing damage issues, but most of the top 5 should be staying out. I mean, they didn't have anything to do with that incident. While Reshkon stays out, Germ stays out, and Nico dives into the pits. Same with Tim Blaish, Dr. Robot, Goblin stays out, Lillercan stays out, Mercedes and Showcrime stay out too. No, Showcrime is going in, so it's going to be a bit of a double stack for McLaren as Nico has to change his wing, but I think it should just about work out fine unless he's stuck in the pits there. No, it is going to be a double stack. Looked like he was stuck for a second unless he had some sort of penalties to serve. And it looks like the green flag should be coming out soon after 4 of them come out of the pits. And there it is. The green flags are out, and we are racing as we head through the Grand Hotel hairpin here. We are back underway, but Monaco definitely not famed for its abundance of overtaking, so we will see. We will take any sort of action we can get, but the top 4 very, very close together. There's just going to be sort of a DRS train forming here. If not that, DRS really does much at this track. The 19-corner Monaco circuit. Mega Player leads for another lap. 1 under VSC. 1 now normally as Seye right behind him, looking to possibly make a move as Vilcek with a 3-second time penalty already. I mean, there's not really much track limits to break here other than the Nouvelle Chicane and possibly the other chicane as well. I'm not sure what that's called. The latter one, as DRS is now enabled as we head into lap 3. Early on into the race, we're hoping to see a bit of action, and let's go down to the Ferrari of Lillercan, who has overtaken Germs, but Germs can't really get back as the black Mercedes has to swing around him. I'm not sure what's going on with that Red Bull. Well, actually, now we know. His entire front wing is missing, and he's really struggling. He's got Nico 23 seconds behind him, so let's see if he can stumble his way into the pits. In the meanwhile, Resch going up into P8 still, and Focus at Game is going to be looking to get ahead of that Haas. I don't think P3 is the result he's looking for, while Tim Blaish also picks up a 3-second time penalty. So this could be where we see a bit of racing action, and we see 2 different lines through the Nouvelle Chicane, one differing from the other, and getting very, very, very close to the walls here. As Seye even touches it here, and Focus is now within 2/10 of him as he sets a purple sector 2. And will he be able to use the DRS down the straight, but a bit of a lackluster exit there? 3/10 is the gap. Can he send one up the inside of Saint-Pavat? We've seen him try in lap 1, but he's just about too far back as Focus with the fastest lap of the race again on the mediums. Vilcek unable to take it now. And let's take a look at Goblin in the Williams, who was, I believe, involved in that crash, but didn't really sustain much damage as Seye is out of the session. And look at that. Would you look at that? He's into the wall at turn 4 at Casino. And that's him out of the session. It's going to be heartbreak for Haas. That could have been huge points for Haas. But again, no safety car, even though the car is completely blocking the left side of the racing line as both AlphaTauris now moving to a podium position. And Mega Player actually, I think, benefits the most from this as he's now pulled out almost a second to Focus. While Goblin right behind Reshkona and Vilcek here, while Vilcek having a 3-second penalty is not going to help him at all. Goblin definitely looking for a move on the Red Bull ahead, and will he find it is the question. Goblin, I believe, probably with better raw pace than Reshkona as we've seen throughout the season, but Reshkona just in a better car. And Vilcek with another 3-second time penalty. He picked it up there through the S's through, I believe that was Tabak. And Goblin not setting it up the inside, but keeping close to the Red Bull there and almost a bit of a gap as they head onto the main straight. Goblin only less than 2/10 to Reshkona, but just incredibly difficult to find overtaking positions. That's why qualifying is so important at this venue, as Reshkona is going to try it up the inside of Vilcek, and it's going to happen. And now Goblin around the outside of Vilcek into, I believe, Casino as they head into Mirabeau Hot. And Vilcek has been overtaken by 2. Reshkona on the hards with an incredible overtake, and this has been one of his better performances so far as we're in lap 5 of the Monte Carlo Grand Prix, while Goblin sits in P7, making his way through the standings after an involvement in the crash. But Reshkona lacking the ERS needed to fend off Goblin, and you might just think that it's going to be a matter of time as Reshkona hits the wall there, and that might be commentator's curse as Goblin moves up into P6, but now with a 5-second gap to Arthur. Not sure there's going to be much overtaking happening there. And now we go back to the front as Focus and Mega Player fighting for the lead here. And the VSC conditions are out. What's happened here? I mean, I saw something slow in the Grand Casino hairpin, but I'm not exactly sure what's happened here as the Vilcek and Lillercon both head into the pit, so it could have been an incident with them. And we've seen now 2 virtual safety cars this race, and doesn't look like he's replacing his wing, just takes advantage of a free stop. So does Vilcek, replacing his softs for hards, and Mega Player is going to be happy to keep the lead of the race for another lap. And now 6 laps in, 2 of them have been under a VSC after that incredible crash at the front, while Germs with a penalty, a drive-through penalty, and same with Mega Player. So let's take a look at this. Let's go to penalties, and Mega Player with a drive-through penalty for speeding under virtual safety car. That must have been close, and well, I guess that means Focus at Game is now in the lead of the race. Will Mega Player dive into the pits this lap, or is he going to hold off Focus? I think he's going to try to box him out a bit, slow him down, and slow the rest of the grid down as well in order to not be hurt as much by the drive-through penalty. And I mean, that's rather easy to do at this circuit with not many easily coming overtaking opportunities. But Focus at Game now knows what he must do, and that is overtake the Alfa Romeo in front of him. But even with a drive-through, I mean, this is one of the shortest pit lanes in the entire calendar. I'm not even sure if I can say it's the shortest, but definitely up there. He'll come out near the lower point spots near Goblin or Reshkon. So Focus dying to look for an opportunity here to overtake Mega Player. As they head through the chicane here, but just not many overtaking opportunities arising. Let's go on board with Nico in the McLaren. Told me last time that he wanted me to broadcast his overtake, so here's your chance. Overtake Lillercon as the gap stands at 0.4 of a second as it is, and a lockup from the Ferrari as they head into Casino and now into Grand Hotel Hairpin, and the gap is now down to under half a second as Nico trails the Ferrari very closely, while Scotty goes into the pits after lap 7. The Alpine, who's sitting in P4, has now decided to box after only a 7-lap stint on the hards, which is a very questionable decision, and he's going to move down a couple places in the order. That looked like he possibly served a 5-second penalty there. I'm not sure, though, as Black Mercedes up into P8, so that's a 22 seconds after Scotty, but still a very great comeback. And actually, he's going to come out in P7. He's going to pass Scotty on the way out of the pits, and that's 6 points for Mercedes as it stands, but still 31 laps to go. So definitely a chance that doesn't work out for him. While Nico looking to break into the points places with a 5/10 gap to Lillercon ahead. This is definitely going to be an interesting chase. The Ferrari had done great in qualifying, but not so great in the race after both of them had been involved in the lap 1 pileup. But Lillercon stays in P10 for now, weaving across the track, showing Nico no signs of an opening, and he's going to tell him, well, talk to the hand. I'm not letting you through by any means of the imagination, while Vilcek now 3.5 seconds ahead of them after coming out on hards. Looks like he's not found as much pace as he wanted to, but he does pull away a bit from Lillercon there. And Nico with the gap down to 0.2 here. Will he try it up the inside of Nouvelle Chicane? That would have been an amazing overtake through a very tight section of the track, but he's going to back off, and I think maybe best for both of them if he doesn't try any stupid overtakes. And Nico falling back a bit, just being cautious, but keeping the gap close as Lillercon goes wide through Raskas. And now as they head onto the main straight, can Nico try to get at him? The gap, 0.3, maybe a move into Saint-Avopt, but no, he's too far back. And Vilcek catching up to the Black Mercedes here, but we have a safety car VSC again for the 3rd time in 9 laps now, and Mega Player, who came out in P3 actually, he may be dying for a real safety car because that would put him back in the podium positions, but it didn't hurt him too much, but looks like he's probably out of contention for the race win. Going to be cautious not to get another drive-through penalty with an Alfa Romeo 3-4. Could be great for their constructors' hopes, even though Alfa currently sitting at a 1-2. As Focus heads into the pits after only 8 laps on the mediums, going to elect to box early. Looks like he's going to stay out 30 laps on those hards unless he plans to box for softs near the end. But again, 30 laps of hards just feasible at this track. And will Mega Player overtake him? No, he won't. So that's an incredibly timed pit there, and that will keep him in P2, close to his teammate, and that could put him in prime position to win the race. As Arthur Kastrawa and the Alfa Romeo hopes and dreams just keep on getting shattered as right when the green flags come out, Arthur with a drive-through penalty for speeding under safety car, and that's going to mean he's going to come out near the back of the grid. That's very unlucky for him, as now Goblin looking to possibly take his position, but with Arthur having a drive-through ahead, he's just like moving slowly and not letting the Williams pass by any means, but just very slow through those couple of turns, and Goblin's going to be frustrated that he's going to get held up. I mean, the gap behind is 6 seconds, but if he wants to get at Mega Player possibly ahead, he doesn't want to be held up by his teammate. Other than that, not much going on in the grid in terms of racing action as Nico's fallen behind, but Goblin almost capitalizing on a mistake there. But, oh, and Goblin almost into the left barrier there, and Arthur heads into the pits, putting Goblin up to P4, but Goblin's definitely not going to be happy about that as he almost slams into the wall there. Did he sustain wing damage there, or was that just a visual glitch? I mean, both his front wings look fine, but possibly could be a yellow or yellow-green front wing, while Scotty taking the fastest lap of the race, currently in P4, P6 with 3 lap-old mediums. Has had pace so far throughout the session, and commendable from the Alpine driver for sure. And it looks like Nico's caught up a bit, so I think Nico maybe a bit faster than Lillercon on raw pace as he makes up 0.5 of a second through a lap or two there, but just unable to find that overtaking prowess he needs to overtake here in Monaco. Definitely one of the more difficult feats of the Formula 1 season is to overtake someone here at Monaco, but it is doable, has been done. We've seen Goblin, Reshkone both pulling off I mean, anything really short of amazing overtakes, as Focus steals back the fastest lap title with 2 lap-old hards at 13:089, while Vilcek with another 3-second time penalty. So this has definitely not been his day so far. The Haas is going to leave here without points. It looks like, as it stands at least, he's down to, I believe, P11, P12 with the penalties tacked on. So just not been a great day for him with the track limits, and hasn't found much in terms of speed that he had in Brazil and even Spa. And Nico still chasing ahead while Vilcek chasing the black Mercedes. Let's see if he can pull anything off. Mercedes did not have much of raw speed at all, but the car, of course, quite a bit faster than the Haas. And Vilcek looking to possibly capitalize on an easy overtake here as the black Mercedes going basically everywhere around this track, locking up into the turn, heading into the Grand Hotel hairpin, going very, very wide, and Vilcek sort of just falling behind, unable to do anything, as no real overtaking opportunities through that edge of the track, but the Mercedes locks up, and this is Vilcek's time. He's going to use his overtake, and he's going to, oh, and they almost touch there, and the black Mercedes with a snap of oversteer there, but Vilcek is going to get it done as the black Mercedes picks up a 3-second time penalty for cutting that corner there through the Nouvelle chicane on lap 13. Unlucky for him, puts him down into P9, and looks like Lillercon will be able to possibly start charging at the car ahead. Ferrari versus Mercedes battle might be imminent, but the gap 3.7, 3.8 at the moment, as it was to Vilcek. And Nico still following closely behind, as Focus has caught up to his teammate now, almost 4 seconds. And if they're going to be communicating through their engineers, Monkey Man Matt's going to be told to box as soon as possible, so he doesn't hold up his teammate, which could be in 2 or 3 laps. I mean, a 14 lap stint on the mediums, not at all impossible here, as I believe that was, who was that? Was that Germs? That was Germs going slow. And for the first time, we get a safety car for an incident that isn't even really apparent. I think they just reached their VSC limits, as, again, commentator's curse. Monkey Man Matt into the pits. Will Mega Player follow him? Would be a wise decision to do so, and he does with a slow entry into the pits. Goblin behind as well, probably gonna follow him. And if Scotty stays out, he can move his way up into possibly a P3, P4 position. But again, he's just a bit far behind from the top 3. Very interesting race so far, muddled by, well, I guess you could call it controversy, as Rashkone and Arthur. Let's see if the hard runners elect to box as well. So yeah, they will. And as it stands, they'll be electing to do a 26-lap stint on mediums, which again here at Monaco, not impossible, but will be hard to navigate at the end. But almost succumbed to do so, the hard runners, for fear of losing time and positions. As Vilsha comes in, Mercedes comes in, Nico stays out though, along with Lillercan, as they move up a few positions. Having boxed earlier in the race, Lillercan stays out on 8-lap old hards, while Nico, with 12-lap old hards, elects to stay out. So possibly looking to drag these hards out to the end and look for another safety car VSC near there. Go on the softs near lap 22, 3, 4, 5. An alternate strategy from everyone else for sure, but we'll see if it pays out. And Nico currently in P8, that's 4 points, not enough to keep McLaren in the constructors race. And as it stands, AlphaTauri looking to pick up 44 points again, as they picked up at Brazil, only managing to pick up 15 at Spa, but picking up 44 points would mean they'd be the first team to cross the 100-point threshold, putting them at 103. And they stack up behind the safety car here. The question is, how long will it be out for? This is the longest race on the grid, on the calendar. 78 laps in real life. Half of that will be performed today with 39. Only other ones that come closer are Austria with 71, Spain with 66. And if I'm forgetting another short one, let me know, but I think that's all. Go Nico, still we rise. He had 5 seconds. Yeah, he had 5 seconds, so that just was the reason why he looked so slow in the pits earlier on. As we wait for the cars to come around the track, Dr. Robot and Tim Blaish. Tim Blaish with a great qualifying session, but caught up in that incident at the start and just hasn't recovered since. So could we see the safety car come in this lap after 3 laps out? Now, lap 16, 23 laps remaining of this race. And it looks like almost everyone's caught up except for Tim Blaish. No, not Tim Blaish. Dr. Robot. Tim Blaish actually being lapped as he finds himself ahead of Monkey Man Matt and behind Focus. There it is. Safety cars in this lap. So this is going to be interesting. So Tim Blaish lapped on the softs. And is that wing damage for him? He'll say he was brake checked. Focus will say he wasn't paying attention. So will Tim Blaish look to box at the end of this lap? Looked like wing damage to me. But if he stays out, he's going to disrupt the flow of these guys, and he stays out. So, I mean, I guess props to him. But as we head back underway here at the Monaco Grand Prix of lap 17, we restart. Monkey Man Matt is going to have to get past Tim Blaish, and he sends it up the inside of the bump, which is not enough leverage as Monkey Man Matt picks up a 3-second time penalty. And now, Mega Player, who was hoping for this, who's hoping for a safety car opportunity to get back in the running for the race win, as he now sits P2, is going to need to get in front of Monkey Man Matt as quickly as possible if he wants to have a shot at Focus. He does have the better tires, Focus with 4-lap older tires, and that could possibly pose a difference here as we look at the amount of lockups through the Grand Hotel hairpin. But Mega Player just unable to get on Monkey Man Matt. Monkey Man Matt, of course, being helped out by the track here as Dr. Tim Blaish moving over there on the side, and Monkey Man Matt looking to overtake him as well. While Tim Blaish with a 5-second time penalty for ignoring blue flags, and into the wall he goes. That's going to slow down both of them, and he's going to retire from the session. That's a 3rd DNF, and there it is, another full safety car. And 1 lap into it, I mean, you just sort of knew that this was going to happen. Let's see who decides to box and who doesn't. Focus with now is going to be 8-lap-old hards. Will he go into the pits? Possibly switch to mediums? No, he doesn't. His teammate ostensibly is going to stay out. And same with Mega Player Lillard. Scotty goes into the pits. Lillard, while I would have advised him to pit, stays out. And Reshkon stays out as well. Nico staying out as well with 15-lap hard. Nico still staying out, which is surprising to say the least. While Goblin, Vilshek, Showcrime, Dr. Robot, and Black Mercedes all head into the pits, as it looks like we're going to see another 2 or 3 laps of racing behind the safety car. So Lillercan does end up going to the pits, but looks like it's going to be a wrong lap for him as he ends up serving a 5-second penalty, which you can do under the safety car. And he's going to end up switching his wing, so that possibly the reason of the late box. And he's going to come out near the back of the grid as Scotty back into the pits as well, possibly due to an incident between the two of them that I wasn't broadcasting. So in the meanwhile, let's take a look at the results as they stand. So we mentioned earlier the driver standings, but the constructors AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, McLaren, Mercedes, Haas, Alpine, Williams, Aston Martin, Ferrari, and Red Bull, as now we are back underway. So great timing there, while Focus at Game and Monkey Man Matt get us underway with Mega Player behind. Monkey Man, of course, with a 3-second time penalty, so I'm not sure how much fighting is going to be going on between these two, as the goal is going to be keep Mega Player behind, avoid a Mega Player win. But it looks like they're going to be scrapping it out a bit, as Reshkon, who currently sits in P4, has already fallen behind with a bad restart, and Nico behind him unable to capitalize, with Arthur in P6 and Black Mercedes in P7. So the top three going to be real close through these next few laps with almost even tires. Monkey Man on 6-lap-old mediums, Mega Player on 6-lap-old hards, Focus on 10-lap-old hards, and it looks like none of them are looking to box at all anymore for the rest of this race, as Monkey Man Matt pulls alongside there through the tunnel section and hinting at a move, maybe telling his teammate that, well, watch out, just because I have a 3-second time penalty doesn't mean I won't be trying to overtake you. Of course, if he can pull 3 seconds out on his teammate, which is not at all impossible, and he's touching the wall there, maybe showing us that it is impossible. So Vilcek with a 3-second time penalty, and I think Monkey Man Matt foreshadowing a bit of what's to come here, as Mega Player getting left behind, actually. 1 second is the gap, so now at the moment he's out of DRS range. DRS will be turned back on next lap, if I'm correct. And Mega Player, now he's going to want them to fight, but at the moment, the gap's a bit too large for Monkey Man Matt to send a lunge down the inside. We saw in the first couple laps that Focus sort of just left his teammate behind in the dust as well. Put up like 6-7 seconds on him when they were on equal tire compounds. So Monkey Man Matt's gonna have to stay close, use a bit of DRS, well, really wherever he can, and try to overtake his teammate and try to stick it out. At the moment, he sits P3 with Reshkon falling behind so far now that the 3-second time penalty is a non-issue for Monkey Man Matt to anyone other than Mega Player, who's having now a bit of trouble, I think, with these hards. Probably not his best tire compound. He was doing so well on the mediums at the start, but unable to replicate that same sort of success now. Let's take a look at Goblin now. While Dr. Robot sets up the inside of Showcrime, and he hits the Black Mercedes, and this is another huge pileup, and Goblin just incredibly unlucky to be stuck in it there, as he sort of just putting Showcrime into a wall and then didn't back off there, and no VSC, no safety car, no nothing for that incident. But I mean, in my opinion, that should have been. And I think this could be a message to the calendar creator saying, please never race at Monaco ever again. We've heard some complaints from the Aston drivers earlier today, and Lillercon into the wall, spins and causing another huge pileup. Just no way to avoid him there. And Yellow's in Sector 1, he's been hit by Goblin and Showcrime, and it's almost like a demolition derby here today. Just impossible to turn around here. That's how narrow the track is, and impossible to avoid the Ferrari, which had span into the walls, and no safety car either. I mean, I think we've used up our limit of 6 VSCs and safety cars combined, but still, that's crazy, as Monkey Man Matt now almost a second behind his teammate. There it is. Mega Player now the one closer to him, as he's going to look to try and overtake his teammate, Focus his teammate, but I'm not sure that it will happen just yet. 16 laps remaining of this Grand Prix for just about 20 minutes of racing left. And Lillercon with a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He's going to have to box to change his tires out. And Scotty pitting again. I believe this is his 4th time in the box, having been in the high points positions early on so far this race. Unable to continue there, and has now slipped down to P12. black Mercedes with a 3-second time penalty now, as Monkey Man Matt falls behind his teammate by almost 2 seconds. Mega Player, with the shortest gap we've seen so far, 0.2 of a second, and could possibly use that to overtake Monkey Man Matt, and I think the win is out of contention for him. But, I mean, it could be at least a P2 finish for the Alfa Romeo. Let's take a look at some other battles going on here. Arthur, Nico, and Dr. Robot, all within a couple tenths of each other, could possibly lead to some exciting racing action here, as taking divergent paths through the New Bell chicane. Arthur looking to get into a top 5 position, and Nico with a bit of a mistake there through the chicane, or through the S section there, and they almost touch, and they do touch, I think. He touched the rear end of the McLaren just a bit, causing him to slip up. And these three are really close together, with Vilcek not far behind as well now. So these four are really close together. And let's take a look at this. Will Arthur find his way into the top 5, and all of them with little mistakes through second of all having to correct. This could be the fight for top 5 here. And I mean, Vilcek really just out of it with the 12-second penalties. But at the moment he sits P10 and he bangs into the wall. That's going to be unlucky for the Haas there if he picked up wing damage. And Nico at the moment in P5 as they head through the Grand Hotel hairpin here. You can see Goblin behind. Goblin just sort of finding a way to still be there, even though he's been involved in, I think, the most crashes so far today, as Vilcek picking up another 3-second time penalty. And again, just has not been his day so far. As Arthur with a tighter line through the chicane there compared to Nico, but still has yet to find an overtaking opportunity, lifting off the gas through to back there, I believe, as Arthur looking for a way to break through. Same with Mega Player. Both Alfa Romeos chasing something great here, and this could definitely help their chances, with McLaren only at 13 points at this race. 11 points picked up at this race. Red Bull with 12 at the moment, but Alfa Romeo with 26 if Mega Player sticks out to P2, and that could definitely help in their fight for the constructors. But Arthur will need to get past Nico to make that 28 at the moment, not doing that. Meanwhile, Goblin catching up a bit too. Maybe in a few laps time he could insert himself into the discussion. We've seen a lot of raw pace from him. Just one of the unluckiest drivers on the grid so far. As Arthur, maybe a move into the chicane here, and he does send it up the inside. They do touch. He's going to go around the outside here now, and they touch again. And it looks like Arthur is going to get out ahead. That was a very cheeky move. And can Nico go back around the outside through the S section? They go too wide through this section. Nico had his nose ahead for just a second there, but Arthur stays ahead with a controversial move. And now Dr. Robot knows what to do, and that's not what to do. And he touches the rear wing of the McLaren again, as Dr. Robot now very close to the McLaren. The DRS train forming here, and Goblin, there he is. Took him less than a lap to catch up, and 3.4 seconds he caught up in a lap and a half. And the Williams driver is now going to insert himself into the discussion. He's going to overtake Vilcek soon, as it looks, if he wants to be in the fight for P5, because Vilcek just slowing him down with 15 seconds of penalties, just not a viable sort of driver to stick behind, as Dr. Robot now getting very close to Nico as well, while Arthur sort of pulling away. 1.2 is the gap there, and Nico was helped out by his defense there, but 25 laps on these hards. I mean, man, when is he going to pit? As Dr. Robot is furious that he's getting held up here by the McLaren driver, and possibly Arthur could take a gander at Reshkon, but Monkey Man Matt goes in the pits. Monkey Man Matt is boxed. 13 lap hards. Unless he has a wing issue, I don't see why he would have boxed here, and this could possibly change the outcome of the race. And yes, he does take the front wing off, Looks like he maybe just made a bit of contact with the wall here, and he's going to still have that 3-second time penalty. And is he going to come out ahead of Arthur? It's going to be close, but I think he's just about going to be behind Arthur. And is he going to be behind Nico as well? Yes, he is. So he's been overtaken by this whole gap of racers. No, he isn't. Well, that's a big incident there. If they would have touched Monkey Man Matt down to P9, even getting overtaken by everyone else. Of course, the fastest driver here on the fastest tires as well. But that's not going to help him. And Nico still has stayed out, but very hard for him to do much here as he's fallen down 3 seconds to Arthur, who's 8.4 to Reshkon. Reshkon actually in a podium position right now with 11 laps to go. This could be a huge performance for him if he can just keep the Alfa Romeo behind. But the Alfa Romeo definitely looking for a 2-3 at the moment. Dr. Robot now getting held up by Nico in tremendous fashion as Monkey Man Matt looking to get past Goblin. Will he try it up the inside of Nouvelle Chicane? We've seen an incident here as he touches the rear end of it. Goblin is forced to cut the chicane, and Monkey Man Matt touching his rear tire, and now he's going to send it up the inside through this turn, and he does make the overtake, and maybe a bit of infringement there upon the Williams, but he's going to make it work, and Goblin won't at all be pleased about that. But Monkey Man Matt finds his way through, and his next target is going to be Vilcek, while Scotty overtakes Showcrime for P10, and that's the final points position. So Showcrime's probably going to be looking to get back here as Dr. Robot still fighting Nico, who's still staying out. And I mean, if he boxes now, he'll come out in P10. Or P11, he'll have to overtake his teammate and Scotty to be able to get back into the points position. So at this point, I'm thinking he's just stay out, and hope to not get a puncture. I mean, what is this? 37 laps on the hards. That would be a tremendous feat if he pulls it off. But I'm not sure if it's possible. At other tracks, it wouldn't be. Here, maybe at 74 miles or just about 110 plus kilometers on this tire compound. Dr. Robot struggling on the throttle here as Vilcek doing his best to fend off Monkey Man Matt, but he's going to have the inside line here, but the Haas says, no way, Jose, and he closes the door on the AlphaTauri with some impeccable defense there, and they go into then another pile up here, and this could be real bad for a lot of the drivers involved. Dr. Robot and Nico, the two main culprits, I believe, as Dr. Robot reversing there to try and get back on the track, and Raskas has been a point of interest here, as this is the third or fourth pile up, and Dr. Robot's going to be forced to head into the pits to repair his wing, I believe, as Monkey Man Matt moves up into P6, while Goblin moves up into P7. And actually, let's take a look at this. Reshkon looks like he's home free. At the moment, he's pulled out another second to Arthur, making it 9.5 back to what the gap about was. And Vilcek actually looking to take his position back. You saw him get his nose ahead there to Monkey Man Matt, but now he's just fallen behind. And it looks like he'll hang on to that P5 position, possibly looking to press Arthur, but the problem is he'd have to make up 9 seconds in 8 laps, which again, entirely possible for a driver of his talent. And with the compound differences as well, 14 lap difference on a softer compound, but it's going to be very interesting to see if he can overtake it. Look at that, a whole second and a half, just so quickly. His pace is blistering, and it looks like he's going to almost definitely pick up the fastest lap here with almost a qualifying lap here. It's going to be in the 11s, maybe low 12s, mid 12s, high 12s, 12, 9, 8, and just barely sneaks out. As Goblin, wait a minute, Goblin has retired. He's picked up 5 seconds, and it looks like he's out of the race. I think he retired in the pits with 8 laps to go. That's an interesting decision there. That could invite a few more into the points position, which Showcrime looking like he'll pick up a point now. And look at this. It hasn't even been a full lap since I said he may have to make up 9 seconds, and he's made up 5 of those 9 seconds, but the hardest part is going to be the overtaking part, and that's going to be a true test of his wits. Can Monkey Man Matt overtake Arthur
who's now 11 seconds behind Reshkone. And can Monkey Man Matt even overtake Reshkone is the question. I mean, just depends how quickly he can overtake Arthur as we head into lap 32 here. And it looks like the answer could be now, maybe into Roscos even, but he decides to hold off. And he'll need to make up 14 seconds to Reshkone. But again, I said he needs to make up 9 seconds to Arthur. And just in the amount of time he made it up, which was just about a whole lap, as through Sendabat they go, too wide now, up the hill here at Monaco, and he almost overtook Arthur. But now he's going to try it around the outside, and just look at the amount of traction the AlphaTauri has, and incredible using the speed of this new tire compound. Just gets all the way back around Arthur, demoting him to P5, and if Arthur can stay within 3 seconds, he'll keep the P4 position, but that is just not going to happen. Now 10.2, the gap to Reshkone, and Reshkone might not be home safe as it stands, but these softs are going to fall off a cliff in a few laps time, near lap 8 or lap 9, so he's going to have to make the most of them now, and then he's going to have trouble overtaking Reshkone if it gets to that point. 9.3 now the gap, and look at this scenic view through the bay here, the yachts, really what Miami was trying to be, but failed oh so miserably. Other than that, Scotty has just overtaken Nico. Scotty with an affinity for overtaking McLarens, it seems. As who does Nico have behind him? Nico has a lapped black Mercedes behind him, who's looking to unlap himself with 3-lap-old softs. Mega Player 3.4 seconds behind Focus, who locks up through that turn there. I believe that's Showcrime ahead of him, who is lapped. Yeah, he is. So the back 3 or back 4 even are lapped now as we head into lap 34. We're about to, yeah, Dr. Robot not lapped just yet, but could possibly be. I mean, 3-lap-old softs, so he's going to have better pace than Focus, who crosses the line to bring us into lap 34 as Monkey Man Matt has made up 4 seconds on Reshkone, so not as fast as the amount of time he was making up on Arthur, and look at that, he's left him 6 seconds in the dust already. But it'll be T-1 lap to impact for Reshkone, and he's going to have to brace himself and try his best to defend if he wants to keep a podium position. I mean, P4, still an impeccable result for the Red Bull if he manages to pull it off. But Scotty with a 3-second time penalty, but it is going to be tough to fend off the AlphaTauri as 6 laps remain here as Monkey Man Matt crosses the line as well. 3 seconds the gap ahead as he heads into his 7th lap on these softs.
And we're just going to continue with the chase here. I mean, really the only important, sorry to say, but only possible battle leading up to him here. But Monkey Man Matt, again, just losing time on these tires now. It's been another whole lap. He's only made up 2 seconds this time, too. Reshkone, not yet in his DRS, but he's about to be. And Reshkone going to have 5 laps to fend him off. And a definitely doable task here at Monaco. But Monkey Man Matt will be fighting all his life to get past. And remember, he's going to have to do another 3 seconds on the Red Bull, which is about a lap and a half at this pace. And now it is T-minus now as we head into lap 35, and looks like he'll send one up the inside of Sendabat instantly, and they touch, and Monkey Man Matt with another 3-second time penalty, so this could be good for Reshkone. Now he's going to have to pull out 6 seconds in 4 laps, but Reshkone, unable to defend, just came at the worst time possible, and he used all of the track, even the part that wasn't allowed, to overtake the Red Bull, and it's going to be a race to the finish line for both of them. But as it stands, it looks like Monkey Man Matt might just be able to pull it out, and Reshkone might have to settle for P4. We're going to head into lap 37 now. Sooner or later, Reshkon, 3.4 seconds the gap ahead to Monkey Man Matt. 3 seconds is the amount of time that Monkey Man Matt's going to have to make up. Now down to 2 in 3 laps time he has to do it, and it just looks like heartbreak for the Red Bull driver, who's going to have to settle for P4 unless Monkey Man Matt picks up another set of penalties or a wing damage incident that he had earlier this race, as Focus crosses the line for lap 37 there, with Mega Player falling close behind. And actually, let's take a look at this. Now 1.4 seconds is the gap. While we weren't worried about the two of them, the 4-lap tire difference has proven to possibly be substantial here, as Mega Player makes up 2 seconds on Focus since the last time we tuned into these two.
And Mega Player now only 4/10 off the DRS. I mean, I don't think it's enough. Don't think he will win, but certainly a possibility. So it's up there. It's getting floated as Reshkon crosses the line into lap 37. Now 5.5 seconds behind Monkey Man Matt. So just, yeah, it's only tie. It's inevitable at this point, as Mega Player burning some of his overtake through the tunnel section there to put the gap down to 1.2. He has a bit more overtake than Focus at game, and he's going to use it a bit more liberally, as the gap down to under now 1.1 seconds because of a parked car there. That's going to be Dr. Robot, who's slowing both of them down, really. And Mega Player possibly on 2 warnings here. Look at that, very, very cautious through that section of the track, and that loses almost all of the time that he's gained back to Focus, with the penultimate lap, lap 38 here, and the gap staying steady at 1.3, while Monkey Man Matt now officially moving into P3, falling 6 seconds out on Reshkon. So valiant effort from him, effort from him, but it looks like he'll have to settle for P4. Again, look at this, Mega Player, just certain portions of the track, he gains time and he's down to under a second. Could this be an incredible finish to what has been a rather boring race? But look at that, Dr. Robot spinning out in the hairpin, and not a great day for Aston Martin as he drops down to P10. While Mega Player just about a second behind here, flirting on the edge of that DRS range, which is down to under a second now, but just only due to the different lines they take through Nobel, as Showcrime, who had yet been penalty-less this race, now picks up a penalty, but it's all for naught, as Dr. Robot's too far behind. But Focus now vulnerable to Mega Player, as Mega Player picks up DRS for the first time in at least 20 laps of him fighting for the lead. And he does get the rear wing open, but it doesn't help much. Helps about a 10th. Lillercon with a 3-second time penalty. Mega Player has have to leave everything out on track this lap if he wants to get one chance even at Focus. And look at that, he is. Focus being very cautious here. And there's a car in front of him as well. It is a McLaren, but he's going to let both of them by as we head into Casino. And now the Grand Hotel chicane. The gap is under half a second. And Mega Player with momentum on his side, with the better ERS. But it's going to be all down to whether he can pull it out of the back. 6/10 the gap now, using his overtake. Same with the Alpha Tauri. His car should be a bit faster. The Alpha may have a bit better top end speed, as Mega Player getting very close to the wall there, but the gap remains close at 6/10, and it looks like Focus is going to win this race. But if it had it continued for another lap or two, I'm not sure if we could say the same about that distinction. And it looks like it is going to be an Alpha Tauri again. Same at Brazil, same at Monaco, and Focus at game. The finish, the Flying Finn picks up his second win of the season in OFR, with Mega Player, the Belgian winner, coming in second. What oh so close of a margin it was, 0.5 of a second. And Monkey Man Matt is going to round out the final podium positions, being able to pull out almost 13 seconds on Reshkon as he rounds the final corner here. It's going to be an Alpha Tauri 1-3, picking up 41 points on the weekend. We'll put them at exactly 100, while Alfa Romeo picking up 28, and Lillercon with a 5-second time penalty. Vilshek with a 3-second time penalty puts him at 18. Reshkon crosses the line for P4 and will pick up his maiden points this season, and Red Bull is maiden points. And what a great finish it was for him too. P4, that'll be 12 points for the team and for himself, while Arthur crosses the line as well, and the rest of the lapped cars finish with Scotty crossing the line for P6, a half decent result for Alpine, while Vilcek will just about take P8, or no, still P7 for the Haas driver. And that will end your Monaco Grand Prix tonight with Dr. Robot. I disagree with that. Dr. Robot is your driver of the day, technically, but a disappointing race from certain parties, but either way, a valiant victory from Focus, who occupies the top step of the podium once again with his teammate next to him, not on his left, but on his right. And Mega Player taking P2, but definitely it's not going to be a rewarding P2 or even a satisfying one, to say the least. And Champagne is out. Congratulations to AlphaTauri. Congratulations to Mega Player on winning the. Congratulations to Focus on winning the race. Congratulations to Mega Player on finishing in the podium, as well as Monkey Man Matt, who had a good drive at the end there to pick up the fastest lap, secure 16 points on this weekend, and give 6 seconds out to Reshkone. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. These are your final results here, as the top 10 will pick up points. Show Crime rounding out the top 10. Focus, Mega Player, Monkey Man Matt, Reshkone, Arthur, Scotty, Vilcek, Nico, Dr. Robot, Show Crime, Lillercon, and Black Mercedes round out the finishers, while Goblin, Tim Wish, Germs, and Seye are the ones that did not finish this race. Thank you to all who tuned in from OFR and from afar. And we'll hope to see you next week for round 4 of the interesting, ever so interesting, online Formula Racing League.